Biochemistry and Cell Organisation Taskbook. Markscheme and commentary for question 4. Plant and animal cells are described as being eukaryotic. Bacteria are prokaryotic. Okay, a little bit of information there. Complete the table by putting a tick if the feature is present or a cross if it is absent. So every one of these boxes has either got to have a tick in or a cross. We can't leave it blank because it tells us to put a tick or a cross in. And if we change our minds, I'm going to tick, actually I want it as a cross. What's that? Who knows? And you won't get a mark for it. So if you want to turn a tick into a cross, you need to scrub out the tick and put a cross. Or to turn a cross into a tick, scrub it out and put a tick. We're not worried about how scruffy this looks in the end, as long as you can clearly see whether it's a tick or a cross. So, cell wall. Bacteria have a cell wall, and palisade cells, well, these are plants and these are eukaryotic, so yes, they're made out of a different material to the bacterial cell wall, but they're still a cell wall all the same. And striated muscle, well, this is an animal cell, so these are plants and these are animals. I'm going to remember that throughout, so we're going to have a cross there. Large permanent vacuole, not in a bacterial cell. Plant cells, yes. And in fact, we saw one in the previous question. Not in animal cells, they're either small or temporary. Nuclear envelope. Well, for a nuclear envelope, you need a nucleus, and bacterial cells don't have nuclei. But eukaryotic cells do. So with both plants and animals, we will have a nuclear envelope. Chloroplasts, these are to do with photosynthesis, and these are organelles. So bacterial cells don't have organelles. They might carry out photosynthesis, but they don't have membrane-bound organelles. Plants will have a chloroplast, and animals, even though they'll have organelles, won't do photosynthesis. So no chloroplasts. Mesosome. Well, what's a mesosome? These are only found in bacterial cells, and these are foldings of the membrane because processes such as respiration need membranes, and more about that next year. So to increase the surface area available here, the bacterial cell will have a mesosome. And eukaryotic cells will not. They've actually got full organelles, so we'll have crosses for those. Mitochondrion, this is a membrane-bound organelle, so not in a bacterial cell. They have these mesosomes as we previously described. And plants and animals, yes for mitochondria, because they produce ATP in aerobic respiration that way. Part B, state what is meant by the term tissue. This is just one of your definitions that you learn. So if you can't remember this, you just haven't revised your definitions enough. And so it's many similar cells, or cells of the same type, similar structure cells, something to that effect. That's the first mark. And then the second mark is what are they doing, so they're working together or carrying out one function. So many similar cells carrying out a particular function. And then we've got an example here. The biceps muscle in the upper arm. There's one there, not very big. Consists of striated muscle fibres bound together. Contraction of the biceps results in the forearm being raised. Would it be correct to classify the biceps muscle as a tissue? Explain your answer. Well, my answer here is no, even though the Markscheme will accept yes or no. So I'm going to have no for this. No mark yet. There's 2 marks needed for our explanation. Well, I'm going to suggest that there's lots of tissues in the biceps. So it's not actually a tissue, it's an organ. So I'm going to say it's an organ because it's got lots of other tissue. So lots of tissue types, e.g. so it's got the previously described muscle tissue, but we're going to have a nervous tissue in there, and muscle, we're going to have blood tissue and various other tissues in there as well. We could actually possibly get away with saying yes here, if we were to think it's just muscle cells working as a common purpose there. So yes, possibly, because again it's many similar cells. Now these are identical to each other and working together to move. So working together to move the arm. You could possibly say that, although I think no is a much better answer there. And that's 10 marks.